right, what's up? It's Dante with Barstool Backstage here with my co-host Colin. We are at the world-famous Brooklyn Mirage again with a band I am so pumped to be interviewing. I've been looking forward to this moment for, I think, almost 2 years now. It is Cannons.
Woo!
Hey.
Woo! How are you guys?
Great. Thanks for having
Wonderful.
us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really
I
well.
wanted to say where you guys hail from, but I'm not sure. Where are you guys
We're
from?
from
all-
California.
All
The
of
guys grew up in California,
And then you're from...
Florida.
So it's funny because we were mentioning Kenny Carkeet, who is one of our co-hosts as well, who's also a Florida to LA transplant.
Yeah.
My first question too, because I think one of the big things I want to talk about here is we talk a lot about grinder bands that have put the time in. It wasn't an overnight thing. You guys are like the quintessential grinder band that put the time in and it finally happened. Like, how did you guys meet originally?
Thank you. I mean, that sounds good to hear that we're a grinder band because we put in a lot of work and it's feels like it's finally been paying off.
Yeah.
So originally, Paul and Ryan grew up together on the same street, and they started playing music together when they were about how old?
It was like in our early teens,
Nice.
12 or 13.
Wow.
That's when we first got instruments, at least.
Were you guys like alt band, emo band?
He's got
Little
two,
everything, yeah.
two older brothers, and I think his dad's dream was for like the Davis family to be a Davis family band,
The
but
Davis Four.
his two other brothers can't play instruments, and they gave up, and Paul
So
continued
you
with
just filled in the stead, right? You were the extra brother.
it. Yeah.
He's pretty much a
Yeah.
fourth brother to me.
Nice.
Did you guys go through an emo phase? Be honest with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like I guess Coheed was a big band for me. Like I don't know,
Hell
if consider that
yeah.
emo, but I kind of do. Yeah.
It's
Hell yeah.
emo adjacent at least.
Okay, so how did Michelle come into the picture?
So I moved to Los Angeles from Florida. I needed a change of pace, and I wanted to go somewhere new and exciting. But I was a very shy person, so it took me a long time to meet people. And the first place I went to was Craigslist.
As
find
we
a
do.
band.
As we do.
Yeah, at the time it was normal to look for bandmates on Craigslist, I think. So I
That's
made a
awesome.
post.
Did you have any bad Craigslist experience, or were these guys your first Craigslist find?
They were the first guys that I met up with after I made that post.
Wow.
So I did get a lot of emails, and I was hopeless. Like,
What did you? All right, I was gonna ask, but you just answered. I was gonna ask, did you answer a post or did you solicit? What did you ask for? Were you like, I'm looking for backing?
so I had secretly been like working on music on my own, but I didn't have any like completed songs that I was proud of, and I felt like I really needed to. I really wanted to start a band. Like I didn't want to do anything solo because I just figured it would be really fun to grow with people, you know. So I wanted a band, and I made a post. It was a picture of myself and a list of other artists and bands that inspired me and that I like to listen to, and a SoundCloud link, I believe. And Ryan had been searching for a couch that day. I'm just kidding. Not a couch.
What we ended up with.
It's like, yeah, I'm down to be in the band, but also
You can
can
get
I
robbed,
live
dude.
with you? Yeah.
So I made that post, and then if you want to take it from there.
And then Paul and I started writing a few songs, and we needed a singer because we can't sing. So I hit up Craigslist because it was a thing back in the day for artists to go on Craigslist. I didn't know about the Craigslist killer until this one interview that we actually had.
Yeah.
The city of the Craigslist killer.
So we were doing an interview, and I don't know if I like made a joke about it or something, but she was like, "You know, the Craigslist killer is from this city." And I was like, I didn't. I honestly didn't.
Yeah. You walked in like, I'm not the Craigslist killer.
Yeah.
She's like, no, but for real, he's here though. Like,
Yeah.
let's be calm about this.
But I was searching for, like, sometimes you just type in specific artists and see if they come up. And this one artist, Trust, that I put in came up, and it's a pretty obscure band, and she was into him, and I was into him, and then I found her.
All right, that fascinates the hell out of me. So you rattled off a list of artists that you said inspired you. Who else? I mean, this is years ago. Who else do you remember being on that list?
I have no idea. Can you remember?
Come on.
I would
don't.
This is
probably the knife.
mythology.
I would
Oh,
imagine.
yeah, I loved The Knife. So I'm sure I put The Knife.
Great.
And, I can't remember.
Taking Back Sunday,
No, I didn't.
Thursday.
Not at the time.
Atreyu.
That would
No,
have been
just
my
Cannibal
Craigslist.
Corpse.
Cannibal Corpse.
Cannibal Corpse
You know,
was
just
definitely on
Insane
there.
Clown Posse. It's hard for me to believe this is what came out, dude. But no, I think what's like big for me, right? So I am in a grinder band. I am one of those musicians who's grown with the same people, and I understand that process of like coming up together and fighting through the woes and all this stuff. And you guys fought through it, and you did. He started in 2013, and then COVID happens. And you have to think in your head, I know a lot of us did, like, well, fuck, I guess I have to get a job. And then Netflix comes along. Can you please explain to me the process of Fire For You coming out, and then a year goes by, and then all of a sudden this opportunity comes along and things change? Like, what happened with that?
So it was an experience that I do feel like it took a long time to set in. It felt very surreal. We released Fire For You in 2019, and we had the same amount of buzz that we've had for a band that has never been able to afford to tour.
Yep.
And we're all working full-time jobs, so you can only do so much, you know what I mean? But everything shut down. Was it March?
March 18th. I know that because I was on tour on that day, and I had to go home.
Oh, no.
2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scary day.
Oh, terrible
Yeah.
day.
So everything shut down, and we all lost our full-time jobs around that time. So we were terrified, to say the least, like worried about money, worried about the world, worried about health, everything. No one knew what was going on. Such a scary time. And then during the height of the pandemic, it was like one of the weeks where everything was closed, and everyone was sitting on the couch watching Netflix. The #1 Netflix show used Fire For You, and they used it at the most important part of the show, and they used the whole song. So it was the part where
It was Never Have I Ever.
Never Have I Ever.
My wife
Yes.
loves that show,
Really?
too, so I have seen it. Yes.
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 So it was the part where the couple in the show finally get together and kiss, and then right after, it's like the next day, our song shot up to #1 on TV and song charts, and then it the
Yeah, so
Shazam
I-
charts all over
Dude,
the
yeah,
world.
I read it got like 10 million Shazams off that
was pretty crazy.
episode.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then we woke up to probably the next day, emails from every single record label you could ever imagine. Yes.
I love these stories.
So, I mean, are you just like, are you like pinching yourself? Like, is this,
Yeah.
is this real?
But I mean, it's just like the thought process of like everything's over, we don't know what's going on, to people sitting in your emails. Like, this is the kind of stuff that like gets me up in the morning, of being like, we have so many friends from the podcast that we've talked about. From Armani White, who has obviously Billie Eilish, like, who's a good buddy of ours, and Joe P, and all these people who throughout the pandemic thought things were over. And then out of nowhere, this happens. Like, what was the most surreal moment for you, realistically? Was it like signing the deal, or was it like getting the emails and looking at each other and being like, holy fuck, we have our pick of the litter here? Like, what was there a moment?
I can say for me, it's when we finally signed the deal with Columbia, because it was quite a journey, dealing with like all the legal stuff and working everything out. And we weren't sleeping. At least I know Paul was saying too.
There was some like
pacing.
legal issues going on. I don't want to get into that, but
No, let's
Yeah.
get
But,
into
like-
it. Put people on blast right
but,
now.
like,
Who's the culprit?
It was really stressful. Like,
Yeah, it was
super
really stressful. We had previously, to be like a little vague about it, we previously like signed.
Just look at what you're signing.
something-
Look at the fine print of everything.
Yeah. Oh,
With-
dude. #1 suggestion to all artists: get a good lawyer.
Absolutely.
Getting a lawyer.
Number one,
That's
dude.
what we did.
So we got really lucky. We had a really great lawyer who worked everything out for us, and we were able to sign with Columbia because we were kind of trapped in a situation that we, that's so scary.
That's definitely the most surreal thing for me. Like
Yeah.
getting signed to Columbia. Like,
Yeah.
growing
Yeah.
up being such a big fan of music, you always hear horror stories of big major labels and
Yep.
shit. So I was like, what the fuck? We're signing with Columbia?
Dog,
Which has been great.
It's
It's
like
been really,
Frank
really wonderful.
Sinatra and
Right.
John Mayer.
That's
I think
exactly
in Columbia,
right.
the building, it's just like,
yes.
I think it's
We're
one of
on-
the oldest record labels, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it's Los Angeles lore, though. That building that sits on the strip, like, it's fucking
Yeah,
Columbia.
it's like we're on Beyonce's record label
Well,
and
so-
Adele. And
Well, so answer me this, though. Like, from the perspective of being a band that did grind to get to where you have to go, and you have this song that blows up, And then there's the pressure of the label, like, not that they're necessarily giving you pressure, but like, you know that in the back of your head, like, I have to answer to somebody now. Like, there is somebody who was there that though, that journey and changing, and like, was there ever a moment where you're like, oh fuck, we have to deliver? Like, you know what I mean?
I can say that like we did meet with a lot of labels. We had a lot of Zoom meetings because obviously couldn't meet with people during the time. But when we met with the A&R from Colombia, this woman named Emmy, she had been a fan of ours since 2014. So she said she'd been rooting for a spike or something to happen with Canon so that she would be able to sign us. So
that's awesome.
so we felt at home right away talking with her and the rest of the team, and they've been so supportive in a way that in our minds, like Ryan said, we thought a major record label would be trying to like mold you into something, but they give us the creative freedom that I feel like is incredible, and we're just like, we want to do this, and like they've supported us to tour and release the music that we want to release in the way that we want to release it, and do everything that is, I don't know, it's that I couldn't have even dreamed about.
I always say we get so little notes from the label. It's almost concerning.
Yeah, it's like in sports, and they say like, if the coach isn't on you, then you're kind of worried because you're like, he doesn't care. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
that's-
Honestly, they just like what we do, and they're just like, yeah,
They
just
trust.
do what you guys do.
Yeah.
We trust, and like,
Well, that's my favorite thing about you guys is after obviously hearing Fire for You and going on your Spotify and listening to all your stuff, it's so hard to put your sound into a box. I mean, you guys are part, alternative, part electronic, part disco even. Like, it has just this great sound to it. I mean, how would you guys categorize that sound?
We actually have a new way to define it.
oh, let's go.
We do
Yeah, it's dream music for the people.
dream music for the people. Yes. So we had our first interview with Greece today, and that's what the person that
country.
interviewed. Yes.
Dude, the country hit you up?
I love it.
the entire
yeah.
the president of Greece.
I love it.
Hit us up.
Sick, bro.
But that's how they described our music this morning.
I love
so, yeah, dream music for the people.
If
And
I
we were
go to-
just like, we'll take it.
Yeah, if I go to Greece, that is exactly the first thing I'm asking. Like, you got any dream music for the people? And they're like, fuck, you heard the cannons, dude? This shit is banging. But no, like me and Dante were talking about this a lot earlier, but like, it just fucking warms my heart to see a band that I know put the work in. Because you see so much shit that is
Thank
fly
you.
by
I
night.
really
Do you know
appreciate
what I'm
that.
talking
Thank
about?
you.
This is something that I know this guy specifically has been diehard. Like, I remember him sending me the screenshot of his dashboard in his car, being like, have you heard this shit? And we're on the group chat with all the guys on the podcast, and I'm like, yes, dude, it's fire, right?
What
He's
song
like,
was it that
It was
you can-
fire.
It was
fire
fire
for
for
you?
you,
Then,
yeah.
But then after I started listening to your stuff, like the first time I heard Bad Dream, I was like, wow, these guys aren't just one hit wonders. These guys are fucking for real. Like, that song is unbelievable. I mean, I'm really curious about, so you signed the deal, you dropped your latest album, was it when? March of this year?
April or something?
April of this year. Bad Dream was on there. Did you guys just have a bunch of stuff in the can that you were sitting on for years? Did you rework that stuff? Did you come up with new stuff? I mean, how did that album come about?
A little of both, I would say. We had a couple songs like we were sitting on, just waiting for another album, or just we were always just working on music. No matter, we're not always
Yeah.
working on an album. We just work on music and see.
So that's
what
like
happens.
that's what really interests me. Like, what's your guys' like workflow? Like, how are you?
Well,
That's a great goddamn question.
Yeah.
I would say that at least they can't stop sending me tracks. So even when I'm like,
I love it. I love it. I love
when
that.
I'm like, when I'm like, okay, like I need to take like a little mental break to refill my well or something, they'll keep sending like really awesome tracks, and I can't take a break, and I want to write on everything. So we'll just continue working on things that we feel inspired by until it's finished, or move on to something else. Or
Cherish that though, because there will be a moment at some point where you're like, I got nothing, and they're like, I got nothing, and it's like, fuck.
yeah, at this point there's so much. Like we have been on 4 tours this year
Yeah.
since this time last year,
Damn.
and
Jesus.
yeah, and then all these festivals in between, and we've only had like maybe like a full like week or two at home, but we already have like 20 something songs for the next album,
Hell
and we
yeah.
just released that.
Are you recording them on the
I'm
bus?
sure there's more.
Be honest with me. Are you recording them on the bus?
We did one track last tour. It's hard though.
Dude.
Yeah, it's hard to not wake up at like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
on tours.
We're talking to road warriors here because I know this game. I know Dante knows this game too. Like, I don't want to fucking wake up, dude. I want to sleep as long as I can before I get to the venue. I know that game.
Naps. Yes,
Naps.
we take lots of naps.
Well, let me ask you this, because I mean, getting your big bump during COVID is like this thing where it's like we've worked and done these shitty tours and played all these shows. The world shuts down. Now we have our opportunity. We got to wait for the world to open back up. Has there been a moment since the world has opened back up that you guys have been on the road, that you stood on the stage, looked at each other, and you were just like, holy fuck, we did this. Like we are really here. Like
Every night. Yeah.
every night. Dude,
I would think Lollapalooza was the
Yeah,
one. Like,
oh.
So that was our first show once the world opened back up, was Lollapalooza, and previously
of the main
before
stages.
the main stage.
Shut
Yes,
the
on the
fuck
main
up,
stage.
dude.
I was there. That's where I live. I saw
Really?
you guys crushed.
Yeah,
it.
Dante was
Thank you.
creepily on the side of the stage just staring like this.
I love it.
Like,
I knew you looked familiar.
So-
No, you guys crushed it. I was so happy, and
Thank
Thank you.
you.
yeah, no, it
That-
was great. It was great seeing you guys on a big stage like that.
Yeah, that was after playing for maybe
Bef-
300 people,
Before,
but
yeah,
also
COVID.
not playing for like a year and a half.
So
Dude.
we were just
tell me that
Little
first-
nerve wracking.
Yeah, tell
very
me that
much.
first show back. Like, no matter how many shows you played, that first show back, you're like, can I still do this? Like, I mean, what is
I
this?
legit had a panic attack, I think.
Dude, me too. All right, so I'll tell you this. On the podcast, we talked about this. Our first big headline back for my band, we like, I knew it was sold out, but I still had recurring dreams where every night I would wake up and it would be me on stage by myself and the promoter behind me going, where is everybody? I legit was having reoccurring panic attack dreams of being like, nobody's going to show up, dude.
On the flight to Chicago, I was like, so in my head, I was like, what are the first chords to our song Baby? I was like, I honestly don't know. I really couldn't.
yeah. I had a nightmare before Lollapalooza that I went on stage and then I like got stuck to the stage. I couldn't get up. Like I was just like laying on the
I'm not
ground.
crazy. I fucking
So-
told you I wasn't crazy, dude.
But once we got out there, this weird thing happened, and all of my like nerves and fears went away because it was like, oh well, I'm already up here, and it kind of felt like after you just jumped off a cliff or whatever, when you just like accept it and you go with it.
Yeah.
It's like jumping out of an airplane.
I get nervous
Yeah.
every night still. It's not until like the third or fourth song I'm like, okay, this is fine.
Yep.
Fucking relax.
That's
Good though.
Yeah.
That means
Yeah.
you're feeling it.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
means you care.
You're in the moment.
Yeah.
What do your guys' families think about everything?
Super proud.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, my
but
dad.
are they like
My dad's super supportive. He drives us all to the airport. Picks us up from the
adorable.
airport.
And my mom is like a super fan. When we played in Florida, she baked the guys a bunch of pies, banana
Nice.
cream.
Yeah.
Right? She's a super fan. She's in the front
Nice.
row, and she's like, "I'm the mom."
that.
I think my mom's side of the family might think we're like more like rock star than we actually
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, get me tickets to
I
this
can't
and that.
believe you
I'm like,
made it. It's like, oh, well, you know.
I can pay my rent now. That's
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the biggest part of the game, isn't it?
100%.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
100.
feel bad we took up so much of your guys' time. You got to go on,
been
but
blessed.
one
No, this is
thing
fine.
that a lot of artists we interview, we like to ask because people out there that watch and listen love to learn. Especially a group like you guys who Colin said who work so hard to get where you guys are, and not that you guys are anywhere near the levels you're going to reach, but if you could give either yourselves 10 years ago some advice, or that group that was where you guys were before your break, what would it be?
I would say to trust your gut and just continue to trust that feeling inside of you that what you're doing is coming from the right place and that you love what you're doing, and that's all.
If you love
'Cause-
what you're doing,
Yeah.
that's all that fucking matters.
'Cause,
right?
like,
Make music that you
You-
would listen to yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that you would go to a store and like I would pick that out from the shelf.
that's all we've ever done and continue to do, and I feel like that's worked out for us. So
I mean, realistically, like, this was everything I wanted it to be and more. Because like I said, this is not just like lip service. This is me and Dante both are big fans, so this has been fucking awesome. You hit tonight in Brooklyn. Where are you at after this?
We're in Philadelphia. Yes. Union Transfer?
Union Transfer.
Union Transfer. Yeah.
I've done the Union Stage in D.C. Great venue, by the way.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We did that too, actually.
I think we did.
We did 9:30 Club this time around, but I think we did Union Stage.
How was 9:30?
Really cool.
Yeah, it was great.
fun.
Yeah.
Legendary
Yeah.
spot, dude.
We sold it out. So it was-
Ooh,
Not to
stunt a
brag.
little bit, dude. Let's go. Oh my lord.
I love it. This was awesome, guys. Hopefully, we see you guys again in a few years when you're, headlining your own tour, doing massive arenas, which I can definitely see. Keep up the great work. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you so
This is
much.
Thank you.
awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it.
Everyone, go check out Cannons.
Do it.
New album, tour, all that shit, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having
Yeah,
us.
thank you
so
very
much.
much.